before we get started, just to make clear, this video is about language B notes. So this is quite IB specific, but I think most people learn like a second language aside from their mother tongue. So this is specifically about your second language, like not your mother tongue, which is the language you're best at, but the second language you're learning. This can be specifically helpful for those who take language B in the IB, which you're actually required to. That course entails you learning a lot of different text types for your language. This is what this video focuses on. It's how we have to learn like 20 different text types for the IB exam, how I learn all the different structures, and how I make everything look neat and well organized. Less about like grammar and language learning as a beginner. So it's like an intermediate stage of language learning, I guess. I know not everyone takes language B specifically or does language B in the way that we do it. So before we start, here are all my note-taking supplies. I decided to put all the supplies first. I'll link everything in the description. This is my whiteout, and I use these staples, this Hello Kitty set of staples that I got from China, and these are just my favorite pens. So my mild liner, I use this for all my notes. This is the specific color I use, and my Muji gel pen, and this is the writing pen that I use for absolutely everything. And for paper, this is the notebook I use. This is from Hema, and it is quite cheap actually, so I definitely recommend you get really cute notebooks for cheap, and those are the flashcards. You can get them from Amazon. So this is not really the supplies, but it's just the worksheets that I get from my teachers. I just wanted to show you this so you know what I base my notes around. I will refer to this a lot throughout the video. So now it's time for the notes. These are the notes that I've done this year. I always have a syllabus. This syllabus is kind of just based around the text types that we have to learn for German. Each of them are numbered, and this helps me when I write text. So for each text type that I write, I can write down the corresponding number onto the sheets. And again, there's so many little details in my notes. I have the margin notes. I have this specific way of making headers, sorting them into their right groups. This really helps me organize and look at the bigger picture of where we are in the syllabus. This is, we always write a plan before we write the actual text. So it's based on like beginning and the middle and then the end structure of the text. Like for example, for a letter, the beginning would be like dear blah blah, and then the end would be like yours truly, like something like that. It's just to help me understand the structure. And then here I also have some extra notes that we take because sometimes we watch videos in class. That's something we do frequently, and we take notes based on the videos, which is here. So basically here, I just got home from school and started taking notes for the sake of the video. And here's just some studying ASMR for you, I guess. Okay, so let's get to my actual process of note-taking. I keep everything on my Notion page. I have a video dedicated to that already. So I just went into my Notion and found the notes that I took in class, because for that specific day I forgot my notebook at home, so I just had the notes on my laptop, but I was gonna write them onto my actual notebook. So this was an interview about the environment. Fantastic. So I was looking up the text type. So interview, blah, blah, blah. That is number 14. I found it. And we're just gonna take that number 14 and I will write that in my header. I always write the number because it helps me sort my notes later and look at it in order. I don't know, it just helps me having numbers and categorizing things. So first of all, I did my fancy heading with the calligraphy. This is totally optional. You literally don't need it. It's just if you like looking at nice things, like make things prettier for yourselves, then do the calligraphy header. That's great. Next up, I did the pink line. I do this literally for all my notes. Like if you watch the math one, I also did that. And I made two lines. I made this next to the calligraphy and then one on top for me to categorize it, basically to write the text type in and to write the topic. So first of all, I wrote the number 14 interview, which was the text type, and then I would write down, okay, so this is the topic environment. So I got it sorted into those categories, and now it's really helpful doing that. And I'm just going back looking at what I wrote in class, and now it's just me speed writing, copying down everything that I wrote. This is pretty uninteresting. Like, just enjoy this footage of me writing. Like, it was very painful though. This is the next day. I've got myself some matcha. Fantastic. And I have finished the header and the writing, and now it's time to do the highlighting and the margin notes. I've explained already why I do margin notes. It's like, it's a way for me to reread what I wrote and truly like understand and absorb everything and summarize things on the sides. And when I want to get an idea of what I wrote, I can not read through the whole thing and just look at the notes I wrote on the side. And it also helps me understand the structure of the text better, and it's just a good memorization tool. I would also add little details like, so this is the beginning, this is the end, and this is like a specific feature of this text type, it helps me learn. And this is the second part. As I said, I always write like a plan for my text, and you'd plan before you start writing, but like I guess I don't know, I already had the text written, so I was just copying down the plan. But this is how I structured it. It's the same sort of title structure. Like I sorted the text type and the theme, and then I just wrote the plan. It was like, I know a lot of you can't read German, but it was like beginning, middle, and end, and I just wrote the main features. For this interview, for example, I'll just translate what I have, the specific features, and then I wrote the interview questions. So after I finally finished all of that, I just ripped it out, and I usually take both of the corresponding notes and I just put them together in a little packet like this, and I make a lot of these different little ones for like each and every text, and it's just nice having them all together. So I would staple them together, and it's good, it's organized, and it's a perfect little study packet. I have these two. There's this one of me, this one I wrote a speech. It's a different text type, but yes, that is how I make the main notes. They're pretty much just essays, and this kind of method I think really only works if you're taking language B, so your second language. Alright, so this is the second part of our video, and it's about flashcards. So again, we start off with a little tour of my flashcards. I use the same supplies, but I just use flashcards instead of the notebook. And this is how they all look like. They're just little summaries of the text types. It's like a skeleton of the text type where I only write the most important features. As I said, like for example with a letter, it would be like dear blah blah blah, and then specific phrases that you use in a letter, and then at the end it would be like yours truly blah blah. It's just like very specific text type help guide things. It's only for me when I need to study and have like a quick overview before the test to see exactly what I need to remember to feature in a specific text type. Okay, now we're gonna write the flashcards. So for the flashcards, I keep it a lot more simple. Like there's no calligraphy. I just wrote the highlighter, and again I did like the text type, the number, and then instead of the theme for this one, because I'm not writing an actual essay, I'll just write the type of text. Like there are personal texts, there are texts that are used in the media, like there's 3 different types, so I would categorize those. And sometimes I would bring out my written text just to compare how the important features, and I would include those into the flashcards. Here's me writing them again. I always have to refer back to this thing because it's like, it has all the text types. Today we're doing a letter. That will be number 4, and so yeah, that's the letter. And now I can just look at the format on here, and I'll make like a short summary on all the most important points of a letter, and that's how I make a text type flashcard. So here, this one's really simple. It's just like date, and then place, and then like dear blah blah blah, and then content, and then yeah, goodbye. That's simple. I messed up. Oopsies, I messed up. It's not meant to be here, it's meant to be on the top. Yeah, I have to redo this one, sorry. Okay, so here's just me writing again. So I just wanted to talk about something. Basically, I really love making aesthetic notes and everything, and I'm sure you've seen all the really over-exaggerated artistic notes and flashcards, and I don't think that's like efficient, and literally that doesn't help. That's unrealistic. So the notes I'm making here, to some people it might also not be achievable, but like to me this is very simple. It still looks nice, but it's like totally achievable and doesn't take more time or anything. It's not like you need to put in extra work to make it look nice. Okay, so after that I finished like the main writing part in black, so I got my pink Muji pen out again so I can underline the important stuff, you know, make some important key details more visible and obvious. It's basically just highlighting and underlining like some specific features. For example, the date, I was like writing, oh, so that's the date and this is the greeting and the end, and all of that stuff, just like little details. That's basically the form that I follow for making these flashcards. They're really simple. It's like really not that complicated. And then I store them in this little plastic bag. It's from Muji. Thank you for watching. I sometimes get really disappointed about like making study videos because they actually take the most time, because I have to put in so much effort into like filming different clips, come up with all the different tips. The process is a lot longer and the payoff is like really not that great, because those are the videos that get the least views. To those that study videos actually help, like I think it's really worth it. If this was actually helpful for you, please tell me. Like I would love to know. I really love the study community because it's so chill. Everyone's just helping each other out. I really hope that helped and that the study videos aren't like for nothing.